Thousands gather at Kololo airstrip to eulogize the late Professor Emmanuel Tusime Mutabide, and the ceremony was graced by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. That and more stories in Abule today. Thank you so much for joining us and always being part of us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahabe Kajura, but first are the headlines. Breast milk bank is saving babies in Uganda. And the National Resistance Movement leaders in Wakiso celebrate 36 years of NRM in power. Mali junta warns Danish French against internal interference. In our sports today, SUPL season awards to crown best of the league. Once again, thank you so much for being part of us. Africa Today starts with one of our top stories. Now, with this bank, the neonatal intensive care unit at Nsambya Hospital doesn't have to worry about availability of human breast milk for preterm babies who need it to survive. Now, Janat's milk and that of many other donors can be stored safely for up to 6 months. We have more on this report. The idea to have a mother breastfeed a baby that is not biologically theirs is not new, but in Uganda, human breast milk banking had never existed. Janat has been donating her breast milk since June last year when she gave birth. Janat as a donor said that she was so excited about this initiative and very proud to be saving babies' lives. There are certain babies who are out there, other preterm babies whose mothers cannot give them sufficient milk. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 10 babies is born too early every year. As experts forge solutions to the burden locally, the essential postnatal need remains human breast milk. The milk is free of charge, but they prioritize premature babies and sometimes give the milk to babies whose mothers died. This project is a collaboration of various hospitals in Kampala. Specialized lactation nurses work at the bank that is headed by pediatrician and neonatologist Dr. Victoria Nachibuka. Many of the mothers approached are positive about donating their breast milk if they have an excess. The milk is tested for bacteria before pasteurization. Before the expression starts, a mother must sign consent forms agreeing to donating her breast milk. Then she undergoes a counseling process before blood samples are taken to check for infections like HIV, syphilis, and hepatitis B. The bank can hold up to 250 liters of milk, and that is the maximum capacity for now. This breast milk bank may not be the answer to the increasing cases of complications during pregnancy, but for the tiny babies in need, this human breast milk provided from the bank is life. Apart from that, the National Resistance Movement leaders in Wakiso district yesterday gathered at the home of the LC1 chairperson Naweru South Cell in Nansana Division, Nansana Municipality, Dorothy Nancha, to celebrate 36 years of NRM in power. Here, party members were advised to avoid disputes amongst themselves in order to strengthen their party. We have more on this report.
Speaking at the event, the NRM chairperson in Wakiso district, Alhaj Abdu Chiyimba, encouraged party members to believe in themselves as the party in power, as this will help contribute to the NRM strength countrywide.
Manji obusamu tebutugamba nti wala atahino wala asala temwenyomanga temwekkakkanya mwabawa Museveni ngali ku ntebe jajja w'abaana nga yafuga anatugambako anatukwatako ngenda baje nyati ngenda bakwata ati baja kumpulira.
The event was held by Hajati Minsa Kabanda, the Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, who urged party members in Wakiso district to avoid disputes and disagreements and asked them to form circles through which she can support them.
Atenga bagambye nti okwegatta geemaanyi ffenna batukubalwa bugambo gamba obutinitini sirina ssente nnyingi nnyo naye ng'ate esobola okufunayo akatini keesobola okuyambamu omuki nesobola kuyamba kinnoomu era nnyabo mbage nti mulinawo welfare gye mugambye simpulidde LC5 bagamba ze buli mwezi nja kuteekanga wakakadde kamukamu ako ka welfare yaffe egenda okubanga ekola ki era njaga.
President Yoweri Museveni, while speaking during the 36th NRM Liberation Day celebrations at Kololo on Wednesday, said the NRM government has made a lot of achievements in the last 36 years it has been in power in Uganda, noting that literacy levels have gone up to 77%, a sign he said shows the country has grown. He said through commercial agriculture, industries, ICT and services like tourism and hospitality, Ugandans achieve wealth. Museveni, however, noted that the country should now work towards attaining the upper middle income status other than the lower middle income status. Nalugo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter Nalugo. Moving on in our top stories, following the unprecedented mudslides and floods that struck Kisoro district in southwestern Uganda, government has revised emergency means in support to victims, include humanitarian aid and reallocation. Our reporter Kachanchu has more.
In her address to the media, the State Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Honorable Esther Anyakun, said following the massive landslides and floods that hit Kisoro district in southwestern Uganda, killing 9 people, destroying property and displacing more than 3,000 families, she personally undertook a field mission to the affected areas to establish the extent of damage caused by the disaster to the community members and to inform them of government intervention.
Nyarusiza sub-county in Kisoro district experienced unprecedented mudslide and floods that wreaked havoc on the lives and property of the communities of Kikere, Kabale, Buzei, Kusenteje, and Mugwata villages in Rukonji and Tengeri parishes. On Tuesday, on the 25th of January 2022, I personally undertook a field mission to Kisoro district to establish the extent of damage and cause of the disaster to the Kisoro district and the community members and to inform government the intervention. A total of 9 people were confirmed dead by the district authorities, 4 were killed by the running water and 5 by the landslide that buried them in their houses.
The Honorable Minister further stated that as the ministry in charge of disaster management, in conjunction with the Uganda Red Cross Society, they managed to immediately intervene in terms of food and non-food items, as well as support in cash worth 500,000 Uganda shillings to every family that lost a member.
And farm crops destroyed, at least 40 acres of land were destroyed, onions, cabbages, Irish potatoes, millet, banana, plantations, and trees. As Office of the Prime Minister, specifically the Ministry in charge of Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, we managed to take immediate interventions in terms of food and non-food items as below. Each of the households that lost loved ones was supported with 500,000 shillings by the Office of the Prime Minister. We also delivered maize flour of 20,000 kilograms, beans 10,000 kilograms, 250 jerry cans, 300 pieces of sleeping mats, and then 20 cartons of soap. We want to thank in a special way the Uganda Red Cross Society, also who offered relief aid to the affected family. As a long-term solution, the government, through a multi-sectoral approach, intends to relocate the affected communities to a safer and habitable place, which will be identified. TV Africa News, Kachanchu Mtavazi reporting.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with international news. Welcome back for the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our international news today, a new attack attributed to the March 23rd movement, which also calls itself the Congolese Revolutionary Army, targeted a Congolese army post in Rushuru territory on Tuesday, a few kilometers north of the town of Goma.
Local sources and civil society say that around 20 soldiers were killed in the fighting. The Congolese armed forces confirmed the clashes, but not the high number of casualties. They confirmed, however, that a colonel was among the victims. Casualties were also recorded on the rebel side, but there are no sources to confirm the number. Only yesterday, the military governor of the province visited the regime to comfort the troops. Some military sources believe that the aim of the M23 is to get the government's attention to secure new talks. The movement has been accused of attacking military bases since last October. Civil society in North Kivu recommended that the army chief organized an emergency mission in the province to reorganize the troops and increase the number of military personnel in order to face out the attacks from the group.
Moving on, Mali's junta has advised French Defense Minister Florence Parly to observe the greatness of silence after she accused the army leadership in the Sahel state of provocations. We have more on this report. In an interview broadcast on State TV on Wednesday night, junta spokesman Colonel Abdoulaye Maiga accused France of colonial reflexes and of using regional organizations to divide Malians. Relations between Mali's ruling military and France, the former colonial power, have frayed since the army seized power in a coup in August 2020. But tensions have risen further since December when the West Africa bloc ECOWAS imposed sanctions, including a trade embargo and border closures on the conflict-torn nation. The measures from the Economic Community of West African States were a response to a junta proposal to stay in power for up to 5 years before staging elections, despite an earlier commitment to hold the vote in February. On Tuesday, Parly accused Mali's junta of multiplying provocations after it asked Danish special forces operating in the country to withdraw. Moving on, the main opposition leader in Zimbabwe, Nelson Chamisa, feels optimistic about winning next year's presidential elections. Chamisa narrowly lost the general elections in 2018 to Emerson in what he denounced as a stolen vote. We have more on this report.
The main opposition leader in Zimbabwe, Nelson Chamisa, said that they know that they constitute an alternative and know that they defeated the ruling government in 2018 and are to repeat that not justice in the by-elections but also in the 2023 elections with a big gap. Referring to the change of name of his party announced this week from Movement for Democratic Change to Citizens Coalition for Change, Chamisa claims a break from the past. Chamisa added that they need to fix Zimbabwe in order to restore the dignity of the citizens, with a new party in a fresh start and a new beginning, which has called a new dawn and sunrise in Zimbabwe. In an interview with the media, the presidential hopeful added that the change in leadership in Zambia had given him a lot of hope for Zimbabwe that has been ruled by the same party ZANU-PF for nearly 42 years. Chamisa concluded that they are so excited that Zambia has given them a huge momentous wealth which he believes will spill over across the Zambezi River.
Moving on, Chad's junta announced on Thursday that a national forum designed to chart the country's future after it seized power and military takeover last year would be postponed by nearly 3 months. Take a look at the story. Maiga responded the following day by saying that Parly should heed the 19th century French poet Alfred de Vigny's verses of the greatness of silence. The spokesman was making an apparent reference to Vigny's poem La Mort du Loup, Death of the Wolf, which contains the line, "Only silence is great, all the rest is weakness." According to the presidency said on Facebook, without giving further details, an inclusive national dialogue that would start on February 15th is postponed until May 10th. Precursor talks in Qatar with armed Chadian rebel groups aiming at bringing them into the dialogue also being postponed. These were previously scheduled to start by the end of January, but will now begin on February 27th, according to a senior official in the Dialogues Organizing Committee. An impoverished, volatile nation in the heart of the Sahel, Chad was buffeted last April when its veteran president, Idriss Déby Itno, died fighting rebels in the north of the country. His 37-year-old son, Lieutenant General Mahamat Idriss Déby Itno, swiftly took over at the head of a junta called the Transitional Military Council. After dismissing the government, dissolving the parliament, and repealing the constitution, he promised free and transparent elections in 18 months, a deadline that he said could be postponed once if certain conditions were not fulfilled. Chad holds a special position in the jihadist-torn Sahel, with armed forces that analysts say are the strongest in the fragile region, and there are little criticism of the takeover from the international community. Well, thank you so much. Our reporter in that particular story takes us to a break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back to the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In a business news today, Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema arrived on Wednesday in South Africa to discuss security and trade between the two nations.
Hichilema has met with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is currently chair of the SADC, on matters of politics, defense and security cooperation. This is the 9th trip abroad from the Zambian president since taking office last August. Zambia's opposition has criticized the visit, questioning the president's motives after he described it as a courtesy call. While in the opposition, President Hichilema often criticized foreign trips undertaken by his predecessor Edgar Lungu.
Now let's turn your attention to our health news today. The African continent is on course to reach the vaccination target of at least 70% of its population by the end of 2022. Now, according to the head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, current figures suggest that 11% of the continent's 1.3 billion people are fully vaccinated. Take a look at the story. The public health official said he was encouraged by a surge in vaccinations in the countries like Nigeria, where vaccine hesitancy appears to be waning. Director John Nkengasong added that the continent's vaccination target is achievable if current trends are maintained and vaccination is ramped up across countries. The Africa CDC says that 580 million COVID-19 vaccine doses have been received in Africa so far, and 64% of these have been administered. The director added that studies conducted in several countries suggest that about 80% of the population of these countries is ready to be vaccinated. In our sports news today, the StarTimes Uganda Premier League has launched its own award ceremony to recognize the best performers in the league with the creation of the StarTimes Uganda Premier League Season Awards. We have more on this report.
The seasonal awards will be the definitive accolade to celebrate and reward the top performers of every season in the top flight division. The inaugural editions of the awards will be awarded at the end of the 2021-2022 season, with different stakeholders including journalists and fans playing an active part. The awards were launched on Monday morning in Kampala and add to the monthly coach and player awards that are given out by Pilsner since 2018. Pilsner brand manager Kimuhuro Edgar said the Pilsner Lager Season Awards are just one of the many ways that Pilsner Lager is adding value to the local football landscape. Up to 12 categories will be recognized at an awards gala at the end of the season, with the player of the season the biggest award on the night. The Golden Boot winner for the league's top scorer and most assists of the season for the top assist creator will also be rewarded. Other individual categories will include Defender of the Season, Midfielder of the Season, Goalkeeper of the Season, and Coach of the Season. The most outstanding young player for players below the age of 12 will also be recognized, while players will decide on the players' play with coaches also given the chance to name their most outstanding players. There will also be a Fair Play Award for the club and also the Uganda Premier League Best 5.
May the best people win. And it is at this particular time that I thank you for always being part of us and joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep giving you the updates. It is TV Africa, the right to know.